been southbound, I've been hellbound, riding on the midnight train. Going too fast now, think I ought to slow down, standing in the pouring rain.
What's going on, guys? Hey, Tony Tristan here with the One Hell of a Life podcast, and we've got one hell of a guest on tonight, and it's one of our biggest supporters. Been with us since day one. Honestly, the very first company that believed in us and what we're doing. We got Nate here with Huntwise.
Nate,
thank you, Nate.
How's it going, boys?
It's going good. So you're in deer camp, huh?
Yeah, just made the drive up this afternoon.
You up in Michigan, or where you at?
Yep. Michigan gun opener opens up on the 15th, so just here with some friends, and looking forward to getting on some deer. Hopefully, it's going to be on some public land in Michigan, and just join the Michigan Orange Army this weekend. So
yes,
there it is.
It'll be fun times.
Good. Go ahead, Tristan.
No, I was just gonna say, Nate. I don't know if we've gotten into this before, but obviously we want you to give your little 2-minute commercial of, who you are and what you do with Huntwise and stuff like that. But and I'm sure maybe on the first podcast with you we got into this, but also I'd love to just get a refresher on what got you into the outdoors and all that stuff. But just if you wouldn't mind giving us the 2 or 20-minute commercial on Nate.
Yeah, no, appreciate it. Yeah, so my name is Nate Huizenga. I'm the partnership manager with Huntwise. I work with folks like yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Work with our ambassadors, content creators, and more on the marketing side. I work with our brand partners that we work with. So I always joke, anything with relationships, it's usually in my ballpark of how where I operate in. So it's been fun. I started with Huntwise back in 2019. I guess sort of segues into the other topic you mentioned, but sort of obviously being able to work in a space where we're in the outdoors and about hunting, actually got me reconnected with the outdoors hunting myself. So I grew up hunting as a kid. I was actually born in Korea, and then I was adopted when I was 6 months, and I was just fortunate enough to be adopted into a hunting family. So my dad would take me and my brother out hunting, when we were kids. I went out, as soon as I was old enough to be legal to hunt in Michigan. I hunted from middle school onwards, but when I got to high school, I didn't really have any other friends that hunted. So I actually sort of fell out of hunting. So high school, college, post-grad.
Had nothing to do with
really
girls.
hunt.
Had nothing to do with girls. Nothing.
Yeah, not really. Honestly, it's also the social side, right?
Right.
But it's funny how things worked out, and being able to join a company like Huntwise back in 2019, it sort of reawoke that passion that was dormant for over those years, and I've loved it. It's been such a great passion to get back into the hunting space, and it's been fun over the last 5, almost 6 years to just come from a perspective from I have a little bit of hunting background. I'm not going to say I'm an expert by any means, but it comes with the fresh eyes of the perspective of someone who might be new to hunting in some way, shape, or form, even though I come from a hunting background. So it gives me, I think, hopefully a healthy perspective when we're talking about the app, how our customers behave, new hunters and all that kind of stuff like that, and how talking to people at 10,000 foot level or a 10-foot level.
Yeah.
When it comes to how the depth of breadth of hunting. So it's been awesome.
No, and I think so much of what Huntwise does, from a functionality standpoint, is so helpful for people at truly any level. But to your point, there's so much that you can get out of the app for the person at the 10-foot level that, it helps the 10,000 foot person 100%. But there's so much functionality, and you guys just add more and more every year, especially with the pro tips or the tips and the part of the app that just gives you information to
the
learn.
field guide. Whatever it is.
Field guide plus. Yep.
Yeah, you guys just really are leaning into that.
Yeah, beginning of this year we launched the plans too, and then created and then officially have launched Field Guide Plus. We work with a couple of folks here in the outdoor space that have a wealth of knowledge John Dudley and Jeff Sturgis, and then the guys from Rude Television.
Never heard of those guys. never heard of those guys.
I think they might know a thing or two.
Maybe slightly.
I've been fortunate enough where I've been able to talk to each of those individuals, and personally I've learned a lot. Just try to soak up as much of a sponge, but then also help try to direct the kind of content, the educational pieces that we're putting into the Field Guide Plus that's available in the app, where people can hopefully learn something either as a refresher or whether it's something brand new, but to get some perspective of even simple things of putting a watering hole for whitetail, archery, practice, tips and tricks for archery, just to be more and more proficient as an archer. So we really just tried to think of it from the questions that we were trying to answer from these videos, of just that perspective of someone either maybe they're new to hunting, maybe they've gun hunted for a lot but now are trying to get into bow hunting, whatever it may be, just to try to provide almost like a catalog of information, a library of videos for people to be able to go through, watch a series, hopefully come away with some new bits of knowledge that will help them in the field themselves or their own pursuit. But that's been a very fun project to launch from the 2024 year.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, man.
That's awesome.
What's been cool to watch, and I think I've been from like I said, from starting from a user standpoint, we were talking a little bit off camera about that, and everything y'all that Tristan and I do here is authentically as a user, as a consumer, and when we're using those products, and I said at the beginning of the podcast, with Huntwise starting off with us, they were the first to believe in us and what our mission was and the reality of hunting and everything. But it was a win-win, because it became like the same passion was aligned with trying to accomplish, what a message, I guess, in two different ways that are aligned. And here's the thing: when all this stuff started, it started with just mapping, right? Do you remember, does everybody that maybe don't if you're young, but when search engines started, you had Yahoo, okay? And all you could do, duck hunters, y'all need to check out Williamson Outfitters down on the Florida Panhandle this season. They offer some of the best coastal duck hunting and inshore fishing east of the Mississippi, targeting species like redheads, bluebills, buffleheads, and canvasbacks, just to name a few. From the cast and blast packages for those who love to fish and hunt, to adrenaline-pumping layout boat hunts that get you up close and personal, Williamson Outfitters has it all. And when the day's done, unwind in comfort at one of the 2 amazing lodges designed to make you feel right at home after a successful day out on the water. Mention the One Hell of a Life podcast when booking and get 10% off your booking. Spots are filling up fast, so call or text Captain Chris today at 850-251-8650 or visit www.floridaducks.com. Was search. That's it. You could search for something. You had web crawler, you had all these other ones, right? But companies tend to diversify as they mold into the future, right? And this is what's really cool, is watching what is transpired with what the targeted approach that you guys have with your product. And it's not only is the mapping software incredible, but the pieces that you guys have in this app, correct me if I'm wrong, Nate, there's nobody out there that's got this diversification in what you guys do, from field guides to gear to HuntCast to mapping, to social media. All right, for a hunting app. I don't know of one that does those things.
Yeah, I think the way we sort of took a look at it was just really trying to figure out what were the main points of pain from a hunter perspective of obviously it's where can I go hunt? That's number one. And we try to help with that with the mapping layers, etc. Other things are when should I go hunt? There's this thing, and every day is a good day to hunt, but there's definitely days you can optimize and have better weather. When you're hunting, a 20-degree cold temp drop versus 80-degree day, depending on the time of year. But things like that. the gear side of trying to, partner with great brands that offer discounts on products like that for people to buy and hopefully save money, to then the Field Guide Plus library video content that we're doing, trying to at least poke and chip away at those barriers of just, of entry, or whether
Right.
they're physical, knowledge based, monetary basis. We're trying to at least alleviate those barriers of entry for more and more people in the space.
And now, I mean, we talk about that a lot, like from a barrier of entry standpoint. And Nate, like you said, fortunately enough to grow up in a family that was hunting, like there's so many folks that just don't grow up that way. And that kind of leads me into today talk that I had. I got to bring this up because I talked about Huntwise today for probably 10 minutes with my best friend.
Good.
And-
This is real. No, this is reality, bro.
So
this is what everybody does.
So my buddy Devin, he's been hunting for 5 years, 6 years, and we, not to like toot our horn or anything, but we were part of the reason he got into hunting and helped him kill his first deer ultimately. Or if it wasn't
Awesome.
his first deer, it was his first or second deer, and is hunted with us, just about every year since. Well, recently he's been on this kick, man, where he's been listening. I don't know if you've seen like the Hunter podcast.
Yep.
Those guys. So he's been eating them up, man, because those guys are smart and have great guests on. And he's been calling me and my dad, and just he's eating up with. He's like, man, I just don't. And he's got 40 acres to hunt in Illinois, and he's just like, I don't get it. Like, I just don't get why I'm not killing big deer. And he calls me today, and he's like, man, I get it now. I got to be mobile. And he just goes on this rant about how he's got to be mobile and getting these different spots. And I'm like, well, you got to keep in mind too, you're hunting 40 acres, so there might be, it's one of those deals. You might be able to find
exactly
the edge of a bedding area on your 40 acres, or you might not, and he's just kind of just gone and set up stands that were traditionally there and hunted them, and he's had some success and things like that. Well, we got on to the topic of talking about land and things like that, and I'm like, well, he had brought up like the the names in the space or whatever, and I was telling him about Huntwise and stuff like that, and I go, yeah, man, when you look on Huntwise, and this is very, like, all these apps do this, but I'm not just tooting Huntwise's horn, but it's just a testament to his innocence in it. And he goes, I told him, I was like, yeah, you can look and see who owns land, and like, I remember what it was. We were talking about this spot of public land that we hunt in Illinois that we've taken him, that we do well at. And he's like, well, surely, when you get on the edge of like where some private land is, where you got food plots and things like that, that ought to be pretty good, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, and you can actually see that on Huntwise. You can see like who owns what property and things. And I was like, the whole purpose of that is if you're trying to public or private land scout and you want to get a hold of a farmer and things like that, you can get a hold of. He's like, dude, no way. And I'm like, yes, dude. I was like, I can pull up your house and tell you. I could pull up the record and pull up your house and show it like.
And get your phone number, maybe.
I sent him a screenshot of his house today on Huntwise.
That's funny.
And but it's just a testament. I mean, I know there's a lot of apps just doing that simple thing, and there's a lot more that Huntwise does for hunters from the learning standpoint, but I just had to tell that just quick little story that came up today about Huntwise.
Bro, I'm going to tell you what you've done. You've created a cult of social media. I'm not kidding, man. These folks are so tight. I mean, they really are. I follow so many of y'all, and I'm sorry I'm not a
Wait,
liker.
are you talking to me or Nate?
No, I'm talking to both y'all.
Yeah.
I mean, when I get on here and I go through the social media part, there's folks that I've been on here since day one. And I've followed their journey, and I'm sorry that I don't always like stuff or comment or whatever, because I'm just like a lot of people, I guess. But, I've always heard don't focus on the likes, right? But no, it's just incredibly intimate in that regard. You cannot even know somebody and follow their journey. And it's so cool. And I'm sorry that I'm 52 and that's deep to me. You'll be 52 someday too, I promise. And that'll be deep to you. And maybe it's before you're even 52. But I'm just saying that piece alone for me means a lot. It really does. It means a lot for the sport. that you can go in one place and be 100% focused on the outdoors. And you know what? And during the off season, these folks and me and whoever else that's posting on there, we're showing our fish. We're showing turkey hunting. You know, it's a full year experience, and it's so incredible. I like. There's this one guy I follow, and I apologize I don't have your name right now, but you make these custom knives, dude, and you make the most beautiful knives I've ever seen in my life, bro. And he does it all by hand, bro. I mean, like literally, like forged in fire, like does it all. And I mean, where else does somebody get a platform to be noticed like that by a targeted audience? Mm-hmm. You know, it's it's just so deep to me. I love it. I love that part of it.
That's cool to hear. Yeah, I think that's the one thing, you know, we in some ways take for granted, just like that social feed within the Huntwise app where people are posting. There's people that are just continued posting, probably have their own group of people that they can reach out to and connect with. But yeah, that is like probably one of the original concepts that we had, which is like a place for hunters to come. They could post. They don't have to worry about social media, like other like traditional social media, where they could just celebrate being hunters and, you know, see cool things other people are doing across the country.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, yeah, I think that's just like more and more. I think from what comes from a hunting aspect of things that. I think community, just like how I'm at a deer camp right now, like I think that the heart, so like everyone wants to shoot a big buck. I think, there is that chase, I think, in an evolution of someone's hunting, journey of like, going from, a 2-year-old to a 3-year-old, a 3-year-old to a 4-year-old, 4 to 5. Like there is that for some people.
Yep.
For some people, it's just the social aspect of being able to connect with, other hunters. And I think that's such a good aspect where it's, if someone shoots something, great, we'll all be thrilled. But just the ability to hang out, break bread, share this time together. That for I think a lot of people in the world right now, time is such a valuable asset that you get to pick and choose how you spend that, hopefully, and you get to try to pick and choose who you spend the time with. And things like deer camp and community like that are such an important aspect of hunting that is probably hopefully refreshing for a non-hunter if they were to come to a hunting camp for the first time.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's good stuff, man. And to piggyback on that, and we've talked about this on previous podcasts, is, you guys always talk about, and I'm going to let you talk about it, is that, Huntwise understands that you might only have a week. You might only have an afternoon off. And that's your hard-earned money, man. That's
time is money.
Yeah, you guys understand that it's such a ground roots level. Can you talk about like the development of the tools and everything that you guys do associated with that? Because I think it's important to every hunter. Yeah,
and I think it gives good perspective for like probably the origin story of Huntwise too. So I'll touch on that. But it's basically it's built to sort of help people figure out, hey, when should I go hunt? I only have a limited amount of PTO. I can only get my parents to watch my kids for two nights. Like I'm going to try to hunt 2 nights. Like what are the best 2 nights that are coming up in the forecast?
Right.
So we really built this tool around helping people optimize their time, figure out the best day that they should go hunt, and to get that PTO off. Make sure it's okay with the significant other, to get a babysitter.
That's reality, right? I mean, that's reality. It really
that's my
is.
reality.
I mean, I mean, you got a bunch of, I was there, man. I mean, my wife is like, you're not going hunting. I'm just like, bro, you don't understand. I mean, like, it's the rut, I mean, no, it's reality. It really is, and do you want coffee that doesn't suck? Get the Duck. Dirty Duck coffee is made specifically for the waterfowl enthusiast. Enjoy flavors like Morning Wood, Dark Dynasty, Cinnamon Teal Snickerdoodle, and First Flight to unlock the flavor that you'll enjoy in the blind for years to come. Our friends at Dirty Duck Coffee Company are now offering all Zero Duck 30 followers a 15% discount when you use code ZeroDuck15 on your next order. Kids to juggle, and there's jobs to juggle, and PTO and stuff. So go on. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I think you exactly expounded on the exact use case of why, someone would say, why should I use Huntwise, or why should I use, I'm going to say, any mapping platform that at least helps people with the forecast. Because it's like there are good days to hunt and there's better days to hunt. And we're helpfully trying to help you find those better days to hunt. Just based on our algorithm of weather, taking into account for cold fronts, wind, rain, the elements of the rut, and hopefully help someone, a person who only has a limited amount of time to hopefully find success. Shoot that big buck. Get that that target buck you've been hunting for in the last year or 2 years. Like the best story I can tell is like we work with a couple guys out of Pennsylvania. They're in law enforcement, the Blue Line Bow Hunters. Matt was telling me a story. Like, I think this was even like in 2019 or 2020 when he was like, "No, I checked out Huntwise. Our bow opener was, let's say it was on a Wednesday, but the weather wasn't great, and I only had limited time. So I waited till the app told me that it was going to be that Friday was going to be the best day to go hunt. So that's when I put my PTO in, and then 2.5 hours." Shot my biggest buck of a lifetime.
Wow.
And that's exactly the situations we're trying to help people. It's like, you have limited time, use it wisely. We're all stewards of our time. Like we talked about before, time, kids, whatever that is, work. That we're just here trying to help people. Like, Huntwise is never the hero of the story. We're just hopefully the guy in your back pocket to help you find that success and tell you when you should be out in the woods. And that's what we're trying to do.
Well, Nate, one thing that I would like to kind of bring up, because I've over the years of working with you guys, one of the just honest like criticisms that I've heard from people is like, well, I went out there on, it said it was going to be good that day and I didn't see any deer. But what I know, and I want you to expand on, is that there's a piece to this whole thing is how you set up your tree stand on Huntwise for ideal winds.
Yeah.
Yep.
Plays a very key piece. So there's a portion of this where you got to be, there's a lot of,
you got to do your part.
Yeah. You got to, the weather and things like that, which every hunter knows that. Yeah. I mean, that's not common. I'm not going to say every hunter. That's a great point. But you know what I mean? Like every hunter, like not every hunter, but we know that like a weather change is good for hunting, and Huntwise can capture a lot of that data, but to customize it to your spot, it takes a little bit of user help. So that's kind of just why I wanted to open that can of worms.
No, I think that's great, because I think we've internally have sort of struggled of how we present the Huntwise forecast and the percentages and what's a good day, what's not a good day, and the feedback people give us. And it does come down to it's just, I'd say weather is just one variable. Like we all know when it comes to hunting, there's so many variables that there's no platform that can account for everything. But what we try to do is, okay, what are the other variables when it comes to a successful hunt? Obviously, it's your wind, it's your scent, managing your scent and making sure that you're using the wind to your advantage. And so what we did was build out the tool where when you're placing a tree stand, or if you're saddle hunting, you can at least select the tree, set your ideal wind for what area you want to plan to hunt. Doesn't have to even be a specific tree, but like on the property, I'm gonna hunt XYZ area. Even you drop a pin, you set the ideal wind for that based on not just the way the wind's gonna be blowing when you're in the tree, but I think the next step forward from the hunter side, the user. I'm not going to use the word user error, but like from the user activity, it's to understand that wind and understand how that's going to impact your entry and your exit strategy.
Right.
Because those are variables that obviously we don't know where you're parking. We don't know like what's your path in, if it's a walking path, if it's you're just hiking through the woods. Are you going to have to hike past bedding, or if you're going to be hiking past your food source? Do you have switchgrass up? If it's like, is it public? Is it private? Like, is there driveways?
Well,
like, all those X factors that
and keep going, Nate. But one thing I just want to add to this is like, so for example, if you're not understanding the functionality of the app, right, and like let's say the weather conditions and the barometric pressure and all these things are like pointing to good deer movement signs. And like, let's say you don't understand your spot 100% correct and you're blowing out all your deer because of the way you're walking in. That's
correct.
Just keep going, Nate. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why we have like the windcast tool in the app. So it gives you a visual of what the wind direction is going, where it's coming from and where it's going, to help you visualize what impact you're going to have when you're either in the stand or as you walk, create your path to that stand.
Mm-hmm.
So the goal is to at least like, yeah, it could be a great day, like a banger of a day. All the metrics in the Huntcast are saying it's going to be a great day, but the wind's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It could be wrong for that stand. It could be wrong for the hunt area. It could just, whatever factor is, like it's just not right for you to get in undetected successfully. If you're doing a morning hunt, like the wind's wrong and you're walking past food sources and your scent carrying into the field,
right,
whether it's the food plot or oak plot or just like where acorns are at, you're going to be blowing out deer and they're going to be moving away from where you're going. And it was a great day on Huntcast, but you didn't see anything.
Mm.
It's the factor of the wind that you really have. It's that second layer of understanding of you can sort of understand your wind when you're in the tree stand, but so much of it is, I think that's something we can try to work on, is trying to show your path. Like, if you were to draw your path to your stand, how is your whole wind trail going to impact that based on the entry point? And the flip side, your exit strategy. Because leaving your scent or even having your scent out there when you leave is just as impactful as if you're coming into. Like, you're probably not going to see the direct results because your hunt's done, you're walking out.
Mm-hmm.
But the next day, there could be the impact, whether it's you can see in your trail cameras or if you try to hunt that same stand or the same area the next morning, you're going to have an impact because your wind wasn't great for exit. And that's such a flip side of the hunt that it's hard to remember.
Mm-hmm.
But does have the impact for the next day.
Yeah.
And that's where it's like, try not to burn out a stand. Like, hey, optimize your day. The evening is the best place to hunt. You make your impact, and then you try to hunt that the next day. You're probably going to have a less positive hunting situation because of the pressure that you put onto that spot the night before. And then just understanding that, again, with the wind, your scent, your pressure that you put onto the land is all things that, as you learn and develop as a hunter to understand how that playing strategy is going to be hopefully helpful in your success in the woods.
Right. And I think I'm glad you dove into just kind of explaining all that, Nate, because I think there's a tendency, and people got to look at what Huntwise is as a tool, and that guide in your back pocket is what is kind of what you were saying, versus like we know that technology cannot, well, just technology at any level in our society, like it's never 100% perfect, right? But like, what does it do for us? It makes our life a lot easier, right? So that's essentially what you guys are doing for the just hunter and specific. So it's like looking at it from looking at this as a tool in your pocket to like you said, determine when you're going to spend your time to go out there and hunt. I think that's the main thing that maybe the people that kind of circle back to my point a few minutes ago, any criticism on this, that's where you are missing how you're looking at this from the big picture, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I think that's such a important, and I think that's why it's called hunting, not killing.
Mm-hmm.
I think we also have heard that term.
Yep.
And I think that's the joy about hunting. There's so many external components and X factors when it comes to a successful hunt, and it really makes the times that you do hunt that are successful so much richer. Because all the elements hopefully came to play where you were able to outwit that one buck.
Yeah.
It could have been the buck was dumb because it was in the pre rut and just scouting, looking. Could have been the rut when it was chasing the doe. It didn't give a care of what was around it. But it still makes those hunts feel sweeter because you outwitted a wild creature, and you won. I think that's such a cool aspect of hunting and finding the success in hunting.
It is. It most definitely is. And just like and you didn't know this, Nate, but I'm gonna drop this on you now. But as you've known, I've been bow hunting for, actually it's my 41st year, and I learned how to go out and zap some rabbits with a recurve bow. Wooden arrows, where I used to glue my rubber blunt tips on and glue my own fletches on and glue my nocks and all that stuff. And I've watched this bow hunting technology change to, I remember that the man that taught me that used to hunt with Fred Bear, a couple times, and actually bear hunted with him, Fred Bear. I mean, that's the epitome, right? I mean,
yeah.
And he told me, I remember him calling me up in the early 2000s, and he said, Tony, I want you to go pick up a parallel limb bow, and I want you to go shoot it. And I said, why? He said, you'll never shoot another bow like this in your life. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, I've shot long bows. I've been shooting bows since the 50s. And he goes, I'm hitting stuff at 40 and 50 yards that he goes, I keep shooting arrows because I can't believe that I'm hitting what I'm hitting. He's like, I thought it was luck for the first 50 arrows that I shot, And so this year, Nate, I went back to, I just kept telling Tristan, I said, hunting is what you want to get out of it, right? It's like, there's a lot of people out there that judge the guys that pull the fans out, the turkey hunt, that they say that using motion in your decoy spread with your duck hunting is cheating, or, I saw a big post blow up over people that were water swatting ducks. And, there's two sides of that, right? There's one person that feels bad because they shoot them on the water. And there's somebody else that says, no, I won because I got them to land in front of me in the water, and that was the basis of Duck Commander. I mean, going back with that. But where I'm going with all this is that I felt this like urge inside of me this year that I was like, man, I don't want to be that, they always talk about sports athletes that don't judge them at the end of their career, judge them when they were at their elite.
Their peak. Yep.
Yeah, their peak, and I was like, I need to peak something, man. I need it. I desire it. And so I went on this soul search this year of shooting primitive equipment, and I went through some serious up and downs on it and just questioning my ability to shoot bows and all kinds of crap, to be honest with you. And I'm like, dude, what am I doing? And I go to this bow shop and I find this guy, and we're looking at these recurve bows, and I've got a budget. And he says, I was like, how much is that one? And honestly, I felt like I was back, like when Tristan was first born, I was watching every single doggone penny, and I was just like, I'm on a budget, I'm just trying to figure out, I want to shoot primitive and everything. And he said, these are good bows, blah, blah, blah. And there's just one bow hanging there on the rack. And it started glowing at me. It did. I mean, my eyes, I go, well, what's that bow? And I thought it was the car that I couldn't afford. And he goes, oh, that's a special bow. And I was like, shit, I can't afford this thing, And he goes, this is called an Old Mountain Mesa. I said, oh, yeah. And he goes, it's really not the bow itself, but the model is kind of one of a kind. I said, oh, yeah. And he goes, it's a longbow hybrid. In all my years of shooting a bow, I've never heard of a longbow hybrid. And that was immediately intriguing to me. So where I'm going with all this, long story short, is I've taken this bow. I've learned to shoot it instinctively. Dude, my Glendale target is toast. I mean, I'm out there at the other night before I could go to bed, and I was just wired on the fact of a lot of personal things going on. And I'm like, I can't go to bed till I shoot my bow. And I went out there and shot, 10 arrows or whatever it was. And I'm just like, this is the mystical fly of the arrow. This is some Fred Bear, Howard Hill shit going on. And here again, at 52 years old, full circle on where I'm going with this, is it created this whole new challenge for me as a hunter. And that's one of the most incredible things about hunting, is that you can go duck hunting with a 28 gauge or 12 gauge, or you can muzzle load, or you can bow hunt a deer, or you can primitive hunt, shoot instinctive. I mean, that is what's so incredible, I think, that we miss about this sport, is how many avenues you can have to really love it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's the thing that hit me today, dude, is this. On this podcast right now, I think it was Tommy Lasorda that said this. There is no luck. You define it. And what that is comprised of, and I might be screwing this all up, and I apologize, California folks, if I'm messing this up. But there's a fine line between preparation and success. And where that usually dissects is an X. And preparation is everything you do to put yourself in a position to be successful. Mm-hmm. Tristan said it. You said it in our Teal Heaven video, Tristan. You said, do you remember what you said?
No, just essentially that the harder you work, the better chance
there is no luck
to be lucky. You know, quote, like, what is lucky, right? Like, if you put enough time out there, you're bound to get lucky. So it's like you put enough. That's essentially what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Work.
If you're a salesperson, you got to put a lot of stuff at the top of the funnel,
right,
to dissect down to the bottom of the funnel, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the thing that I see Huntwise selfishly to me is that it aligns me further closer to that X of the target of preparation.
No, that's well said, Tony. I think that's a great synopsis of what our platform does. It just hopefully gets you closer to that mark of, getting that success point. Hopefully, putting hours into, putting your food plots in or hanging tree stands, whatever that is, and having a tool like this to help people out, like navigate some aspects of weather, wind, to really take down that 10,000 hour learning curve.
Yes.
So you can try to find that success.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, Nate, with this younger group of folks that we're dealing with, and I'm not throwing any shade, I'm just saying y'all need that immediate satisfaction. And you have something right here at your fingertips to help, that you can feel like I'm putting myself in the best position for success right now. Not that I have to go out and play with apprentice for the next 2 years to some old dude that I don't want to listen telling me any more hunting stories. All right. I mean, I get it. But you have this tool right here at your fingertips.
Yeah, I think too, it's just like, if we can help people with that learning curve and shorten the learning curve, that's success for us.
Yeah, 100%. Now, let's talk about saving money. All right, we already talked about saving time, and which time is money, right? But what's also very cool, Nate, is give us an update of where you guys stand up. It's in the teens that morning, and maybe you're chasing ducks or geese. But now it's September, and it's 85 degrees, and you're hunting early teal or geese. As a waterfowler, you need dependable weather protection that will not break the bank. Founded in 1996, Frog Togs is not only the leader in breathable wader technology, but a company you can depend on to keep you warm and dry, head to toe, no matter your hunting environment. Stay bone dry by using discount code ZD315 for 15% off not only your first purchase, like most discount codes, but how about every single purchase you make from now until December 31st, on all of these freaking killer discounts with all these giant brand names that, I mean, I think this is like one of the best blessed secrets of Huntwise is I mean, I just popped on here tonight and I didn't notice it before, but I looked at Tristan and I go, 40% off of, and it was, who was it? that I sent you that. Oh, it was
the
on.
scent company.
It was Downwind.
Yep.
40% off, bro. I was just sitting there at Bass Pro the other day going, do I want to get scent killer gold? Do I want to get dead downwind? And they're all about the same price. Not Huntwise.
Yep. Now, there's been several things that I've done well on Huntwise with just using that aspect of it. And I've told the story with Nate before about the rangefinder in a pinch, or just recently with broadheads. I've done that a couple times with broadheads on there over the years with, like, I don't know if you guys saw Muzzy, but you had Muzzy from a point of time. And and correct me if I'm wrong, Nate, is it the pro and the elite membership or just the elite membership?
Yeah, it's pro and elite. Elite members do, if there's a higher percentage discount that's available. Elite is for elite members versus the pro. Yeah, it's like that overall program. We have some great partners that we have worked with in the past, and trying to find more partners based on what people are telling us that they would like to see in the app.
Yeah,
and we try to go to that show season's coming up here in January. So one of the things I do is go around to these events and talk to the sales team, marketing teams, and say, hey, we have an opportunity to connect with our users. Try to help go to bat for our users to get them discounts and connections with brands and products. So that's definitely part of the fun part, I think, of knowing that program is purely for the benefit of our user. Like we don't take sales commissions. There's no setup fees. We purely try to pass all the value to our end users, which I guess benefits us if we have more end users. But we literally, that's my goal, is to try to get great brands, great products into the gear program where our users can save money.
Do when you shows that are coming up for you guys, are you guys by any chance going to be at NWTF this year, or what are some of the shows y'all be at the next year, if you just don't mind?
Yeah, so we'll probably go into we actually went to NWTF last year. Yeah, last year. This year we'll be going to ATA, which is in Indianapolis. And then we'll probably be going to Western Hunt Expo, which is in Salt Lake. And those are the two main shows we try to go to. We might try to go to NWTF as well. But in all honesty, that show's so busy.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's actually hard to talk to the people at the brand at the event, because obviously their job is to help connect directly with the consumers and
sure,
hopefully sell product. But some of the other events we try to go to where it's easier to get in front of these team members from the brands. But those are the two main shows we'll be going to this year. You might be going at the SHOT Show. I'm not sure. I don't know sometimes that one's too busy and too big again. But so we try to find the shows where we can actually talk to people from the brand, talk to the marketing team, talk to their e-commerce team to work something out where we can onboard them to the gear program.
Yeah, no, it's a fine line between busyness. Busyness can hurt you and help you, so you guys are trying to find that line that's
exactly.
just enough going on that's not too crazy.
And shows are expensive, bro. I mean, they are. I mean, because what a lot of people don't realize is it's not just the cost of the booth. There's marketing and materials. There's flights. I mean,
Now, are y'all?
The thing is,
are y'all doing a booth, Nate, or are you just going and?
No.
Yeah.
You just walk. And that's the thing too, thing flights for 2 people, hotels for 2 people, food for 2 people, insurance for 2 people. If you have to get Ubers or just parking from airport, it adds up.
You're in the thousands quick.
Yeah, it's probably $6,000 for 2 people to go, and some companies that's not much, some companies that's a lot, but thankfully our leadership team is knows the value of us going to those events to help try to create the benefit for the gear program for our users. So thankfully we get approval to do such.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. I'm the reason I bring it up is hopefully we can catch you at some point. Just in the future at a show.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. But that's one of the things on our bucket list is just to get out to more of these shows. Because man, Nate, they're just they're a blast. Like they really are. They're a great time. I mean, there's a lot of just good fellowship and meeting folks and just networking and things like that. But just from a camaraderie standpoint, they're great.
Well, this industry, and we talk about it a lot, is that, bro, this isn't the corporate world that you work for.
Mm-hmm.
This is a handshake business. It still is today. I really believe that. I believe that deals are made, relationships are made face to face. Still today, it's
100%.
almost as traditional as saying, "Can I take your daughter out on a date, sir?" It's almost that traditional to where I love the roots of that you get to sit down and shake somebody's hand, and then it becomes authentic. You know what I mean? It really does. And that's one thing that the shows give us an opportunity to do. Nate, one thing that I think is one of the coolest features that you guys have came up with, like if I'm trying to go to, let's say, Montana, right? Never been there. I'm like, what do I need license-wise to go hunt there?
Yep.
Dude, this license and regulations piece that you guys have added is so cool. You can just, how simple does it get?
It's one of those things, try to make it simple.
Dude, you just drill down by state, buy a hunting license, hunting regulations. What's a fishing license? I'm looking at Arkansas right now, and I pull it right up, and it says, buy a hunting license, hunting regulations, Arkansas waterfowl hunting, fishing, buy a fishing license. What's the fishing regulations? Dude, one spot, right? Keep it simple. Give me it right now when I want it right now. It's right here.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that's a big part of, especially with Western states when it comes to, draw odds. What unit do I put in for? I think, some other platforms do a really good job. I think Go On, they've done such a good job of breaking that down for people.
Mm-hmm.
But it is one of those simple things that you can easily, that we've done in the app, is trying to put people directly to that source of, knowledge, directly to the Fish and Wildlife Agency that's there.
No, I think it's super awesome. No, it continues to, every time, I'll be going on the app, and it'll be off season. I'll be going through the app, and I'll be just like, Tristan, dude, look what Huntwise just did. And you guys, again, going back to what I was talking about, diversification, you guys continue to, you're such a good listener to your customers that you can write on the app. You want to give them some feedback? They're going to listen to you, bro. They are. Can you talk a little bit about that piece?
Yeah, I think, it's from the DNA of how we came from conception was, we're only, around if we listen to our users. I think we've done a decent job of that in the past. And I think, that's something we can continue to, keep on the forefront and just focus on that, is listening to our users, taking feedback, and building a use case for why a certain feature or a certain component of the app should be placed where it is or isn't. We're only in business if our users are listened to and if they're happy. That's it.
That's awesome, man. Now, excuse me. With thinking out what's on the horizon, where are you guys looking at now, based on that feedback and stuff, I don't want you to throw in the matzo ball. Our partners at Huntwise are offering an exclusive discount for Zero Duck 30 followers. As an elite member, some of the features you'll immediately gain access to are Huntcast, Windcast, peak kill times, property lines, owner information and phone lookup, 250 map layers, unlimited offline maps, 3D maps, social media, and on top of it all, save up to 50% off some of the top hunting brands in the industry. Download and explore the #1 hunting toolset today and save 20% by using code DUCK30. all here, but like, what are you guys looking at, like, into the future? What's something that you guys are working on? Like, what can we expect from Huntwise in the future, do you think?
That's a great question. We're actually in the beginning stages, or not in the beginning stage. We're in the middle of discussing what the roadmap is for 2025. Oh, gosh, it's weird saying 25.
Right.
But I think I know we're very committed to the educational content side. So we'll be creating more video content. We'll be working, stuff for turkey season coming up here. And I think that will be a big focus, for immediate, things that I think people will see. We'll be building upon turkey content in the app around the educational videos, and then from calling strategy to decoy placement to understanding terrain, turkey behavior, things along that nature. That I think we will be really focused on for that first Q1, beginning Q2 kind of time frame of like when people need the information, and hopefully help people find success, in the turkey field. But I think you'll see more and more educational kind of pieces. Hopefully more things around the gear and education around products as well. Because I think, just having the products in the gear program is great, but looking at how we can try to display, almost a product review, or at least like a breakdown of products, that will hopefully help people make, good purchasing decisions that, the product actually solves the need that they're looking to solve.
That's awesome. Well, Nate, we don't want to keep you all night. You're at hunting camp. I mean, you need to go to sleep, because I know you're going to be sitting there like a kid on a Christmas Eve, but one thing that we like to do, we got a partner of ours that's called Venku Outdoors. And one thing that they're really incredible at is they take all of, like, if you're an outfitter, right? And most outfitters were guides, and they kind of like serve the customer, right? And what they're great at is guiding you. What they hate doing is everything else, right? And that's where Venku comes into this. Not only is it a platform that you can go on there and be like, I want to do an elk hunt in Montana, and find outfitters and resources for that. But they also do the back end. They're kind of like what's the word you?
I always say it's like the Airbnb for hunters.
Yeah. I mean, but what they'll do.
But imagine when you own your own Airbnb, how Airbnb supports you as an owner. That's what they do for the guide as well.
Yeah. So they do
that's cool.
all the back end stuff. What they do is they'll go in, like, say, all right, like, I like to use Kade, our buddy at Delta Thunder. Listen, he's from Arkansas. He's a college educated man, but you wouldn't think he got past third grade. Right?
Take it easy.
Right? Yeah, no, I'm throwing shade a little bit. But here's the thing. He's great at putting people on ducks and geese. What he doesn't want to mess with is, like, marketing my business and the website and all that stuff.
Calendar and booking.
Yeah, booking and all that, invoicing, all that stuff. Venku does that. But is a special portion of our podcast that we've dedicated to Venku Outdoors. And what that includes is, Nate, tell us your best hunting story.
Oh, man. I think it was it's actually a turkey hunt. It's down in Kentucky. It's actually with an outfitter. And it's not really about the hunt. We got a turkey. It was awesome. But I think it was the time with the guide that I got to hunt. His name was Donnie Peterson. He's a gentleman from North Carolina. Dude, he just was an awesome, human being. He is he's a little bit older than myself. I think he's probably in his early 60s. And but just being able to spend that time in the blind with him, talk and learn about turkey hunting, turkey behavior, that is something I have, is one of my most fondest memories of hunting. It's just the time I got to spend with Donnie, learning about him learning about me, just that time, that commonality of hunting, but all the other things that can come along with that, just talking to someone from a different part of the country. And it was just such a good, cool time that I got to spend with him. He even, sent me some shells, and,
Nice.
he'll handle his own tungsten shells and stuff like that. And it was just a cool, just connection. I got to actually meet him up with him again at NWTF. It was just like old times. We just reconnected. It was awesome. Like, he is such a gentleman and just, such a good human being. It was just so cool to see how a turkey hunt in Kentucky just built that connection with a guy like Donnie. And just, I don't know, that was sort of I think the cool thing about hunting. It just brings people together. There's a commonality, and I think there's a common sense mentality and just good people in the space when it comes to hunting. That it was such a fun hunt because of that.
That's a unique. I mean, I've never heard anybody like just take it off of the hunt and put it on the guide.
Mm-hmm.
That is such a cool thing. And guides, big shout out to you tonight. Guides are doing way more than taking you on a hunt.
Yeah.
I mean, they're doing laundry. They're
the
sleeping.
unsung heroes of the outdoor space in so many different ways that I think a lot of people look down upon guides. Like, oh, you're just paying someone to take you out. But I think it's still hunting, and like there's so much more that goes into it. And like I'm gonna say from my intro level of just like understanding turkey hunting to have that time, like 3 or 4 days with Donnie, I was just able to learn so much more about turkeys. Like it was such a more than I probably would from like watching YouTube videos. I don't know.
Right.
It was just such a really cool experience from that side.
Big shout out to the Donnies of the world tonight.
Yeah, and just my 2 cents on that is everyone's got a guide story from, not everyone, but there's a lot of people that have guide stories from one side of the fence or not, and you always love to hear that story of a guide that spends the time with you to just be personable and share information and things like that. And I've definitely had both sides of that fence, and I know you have too, Dad, and it's cool to hear that, Nate.
Yeah, no, big, like I said, big shout out to the Donnies of the world. And honestly, it really just shows the heart of who you are as a person, Nate. And, it's not about you. It's not about the hunt. Sometimes it's about everything else that goes with that.
Yeah. No, I think that's a perspective that, that I carry with me when it comes to hunting. It's just like, it's like, I guess it goes to my origin story, just being adopted, and like the likelihood of coming to America, likelihood of, being adopted into a hunting family, and just the opportunities that have unraveled for me that I just try not to take it for granted. And just like, it's definitely a cool opportunity to be where I'm at, and I'm just grateful for it.
Man, well, listen, we want you to go snooze some Z's, dream about that big boy tomorrow, and we wish you the best of luck and safety. Wear that damn safety belt and all that stuff. We want everybody to stay safe out there, man. But dude, pick a spot. Pick a spot. That's what I was always told. Pick a spot.
Well, I appreciate it, boys. Thanks for having me back on.
Yes, sir. And thank you to the whole organization for supporting us. We really, 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 truly appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right, Nate. Good luck, man. Have a good one.
Awesome. Thanks,
right.
boys. Appreciate it.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.
I've been southbound, I've been hellbound, riding on the midnight train. Going too fast now, think I'll slow down, standing in the pouring rain.